Здравейте на всички, аз съм Хънтър и добре дошли в 139-ти епизод от поредицата на Pathfinder of the Righteous. Продължаваме не съвсем откъдето бяхме стигнали, връщаме се малко назад, тъй като предишния път избрахме опцията да се превърнем в златни дракони, само че сега този път няма да го направим така, тъй като забелязах, че неутралният дракон ни прави златният дракон ни прави неутрал гуд, което означава, че нашия паладин си губи възможността да използва силите си, т.е. по-скоро пътят на златния дракон не е за паладини и въобще за lawful good герои, като алигмент. Така че ще си продължиме по така или иначе нашия път на ангела. Всъщност ще видим да имаме, може би, още някоя друга опция. Така че този разговор минахме, за това не го чета отново. И сега ще се изправим срещу тази армия, да видим какво ще стане, ако избереме ангелския път, всъщност. Така, още отново са тука. Гледаме колкото се може така по-бързичко да премина през приказките. Та сега тук нещо ни се подиграваха. Да. Legend Mythic Path. Yes, I'm immortal. I'm the commander of the Fifth Crusade. This is my city, my people and my destiny. Значи тук имаме някакъв Legend Mythic Path, който мога да изберем. Също така имаме Angel Mythic Path, който ще си избереме с Reveal the Light of Heaven. Вече видяхме какво става с драконския. А да видим какво ще стане всъщност, ако избереме Legend Mythic Path. Я да видим какъв ще е ефект, че ми е интересно да видя. The demon seems to want to say something else, but then just waves his huge claw. Whatever, let's see how you taste, Commander. В случая се биеме с тях. Яко. Тоест тук не използваме някакви такива свръхчовешки сили. Добре, и става в общи линии същото, само анимацията се променя от нашия избор. Да. И се появява Айомедей. Добре, обаче ние мисля да избереме друго. Ние ще избереме... Ще избереме да се насочиме към ангелския път. И да видим този път The Light of Heaven какво ще направи. И след това ще продължим през разговорите. Всъщност ние го бяхме докарали малко по-напред в разговорите, така че сега като стигнем до този момент, отново ще така по-бързичко ще преминем през нещата, за да не се повтаряме. Така, arms. Окей. Вижте колко е приятно така, че има някаква разлика в нашия избор. Естествено и в трите ситуации тия демони нямат късмет. Така. Legend Angel. Reveal the light of heaven. Let the darkness perish. Be gone from my world, demons. Power rushes through your body, almost ripping it apart. The wound in your chest bursts open in a spray of bloody droplets. The might bestowed upon you by the abyss and a real voice erupts into this world and you pay for it in purest agony. Light suffuses you, bright and shining, light and the desire to protect your world at any cost. Whoa. Това беше впечатляващо. Nice. Изненадаха ме миналия епизод с появата на Айомедей. Това всъщност е и богинята, която ние си избрахме за нашия герой. Така че си пасват нещата да изберем пътя на рая. В крайна сметка. Така. Тук и се поклонихме. Това го знаем.
This fortress has witnessed so many horrors and miracles. It makes me wonder how it still stands.
For a moment, the goddess diverts her eyes from your face and looks over Dresden.
I know how much light and hope you have brought to the Crusaders. Your achievements are indisputable. But during all that time, your followers believed that their leader was heaven's chosen. This is a bitter lie. And goodness and justice cannot be based on lies. The light that emanates from you is deceiving and dangerously bright. It burns your companions and one day it will burn you too. But I did not come here to reproach you or to bewail the fate of the unfortunate defenders of Dresden.
Тук това го знаем. В общи линии Айомедей иска да ни разкрие една тайна, която една тайна, която Арил Ворлиш и Ноктикула скриха от нас. А всъщност това е, че ако използваме силата си да затвориме раната на света, реално ще ни убият. Така че затова искам да преминем през разговора по-бързо. Тъй като го направихме в миналия епизод, да не си губим времето допълнително. И ще продължим от там, където приключихме. Goddess, can you banish this spawn of the abyss or destroy them entirely? Това са именно Арил Волеш и Ноктикула. Арил определено няма така добро отношение към Айомедей. Така. Сега тук ги разпитахме всичко. В общи линии Айомедей ни казва, че ако се откажем от силата, ще оцелеме на края на играта. Не могат просто да ни изчистят от силата на кристалите, които са използвани за да станем толкова яки. Затова, да. Тук се оказа обаче, сега тук и казахме този аркана чек, който преминахме. I received my wound because of you, Ariel. Planted the essence of the abyss in my soul when you expanded the world wound. My question is, why do you have a similar wound? Could it be because you used your own soul as a key when you first opened the world wound? Значи, нашата рана е ключа към отварянето и затварянето на раната, на света, но Арил има същата рана. Ето то даже се показва тук на нейния портрет. Тоест, когато тя отворила за първи път тази порта към Ада, тя също е получила такава рана. Тоест, сега сме двама такива.
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has two keys.
Два ключа.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound. And the key...
Сега само, че Арил я предава, което беше съвсем нормално.
Wait, I said wait. Yes, she's talking.
Затова преминаваме през нещата. Сега, бяхме стигнали до тук, всъщност, в предишния епизод. Both the goddess and the demon lord stare at you expectantly, за да вземе нашето решение. Обаче ние първо ще ги разпитаме. Before I make my decision, I want to ask Ayomedei some questions.
Ask, and you shall have your answers.
You gained your own power from the Starstone. How is my power any different?
My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power. I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords.
You imprisoned entire hosts of angels inside the Wardstones. Why did you do that to them?
Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Did you send your herald to follow me to the abyss, or did he go of his own free will?
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
Тогава ще го е скрива от него всъщност.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth.
Точно така.
For the noblest of reasons, of course.
The demon grins. Do you know what happened to your herald?
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Dresden. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war.
Deep grief flushes across the goddess' stern face.
Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here.
Но пък в наш плюс е това, че той не може да ги води лично, така че...
As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the abyss.
Ще се пробваме да му помогнем със сигурност. Ever since I acquired these powers, everyone has believed me to be Iomede's chosen. Why didn't you do anything to dispel this misunderstanding?
At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the abyss.
Тя не е знаела.
And following his
Yeah.
desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years. So even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
Да, но също така се е скрила зад успехите ни, в смисъл пак не е често.
In other words, our imperial guest had no problem with your power as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds.
Харесва ми тази битка на приказки между двете. Поне ако не е друго. A demon lord stands before you. Why don't you destroy her right here and now?
I could. But then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial Lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive.
Интересно. Тоест те не са във война по принцип, така е. Why have you decided to descend to the world of mortals at this particular moment?
As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself.
Why did Ariel do everything possible to lead us to the idea that she was a key too?
The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme.
Точно така.
Be on your guard. The architect of the world wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival.
Вие знаете ли, че точно това се замислям сега? Всъщност, за да затвориме раната на света, един от нас двамата трябва да загине. Само, че най-вероятно трябва да загине, правейки това, което трябва. Тоест, ако ние искаме да оцелеме, трябва да се разбереме с Арил. Explain it to me again. How exactly can you help me cleanse myself of the influence of the abyss?
Arilu has planted a piece of the abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
Тя в общи линии ни казва, да, че си зависи от
It is
нас.
time to make your decision then.
Не, ще разпитаме първо Ноктикула. Ноктикула, I have some questions
If
for
you
you.
have questions, ask away.
Why did you try to hide the fact that closing the world would kill me?
Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Arilu, of course.
Ноктикула gives you a sweet smile. Now that we've decided to use Ariel to close the world wound, do you still want me to keep the powers I acquired from her?
Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Arilu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Arilu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely.
Ноктикула flashes a predatory grin at you.
You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Arilu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound.
Ariel deliberately led us to the idea that she was a key too. Why?
Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go.
Добре. Where could Ariel have fled to?
No, let's think. She's hidden in the abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Arilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that.
Ноктикула taps her manicured claw on her chin.
If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the world wound.
Aren't you afraid to stand in the presence of goddess?
Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Tikio pointedly looks Ayomede up and down.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
Много ми харесват тези обиди, които си бятат. Добре, това е много яко. Do you really plan to use me to become a goddess yourself?
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Arilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And no offense, but you're no match for any deity.
Not yet anyway. Ще видим. I have no more questions.
Very well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
Не, първо ще питаме нашите компаньони за съвет. What do you think about all this?
Perhaps your power came from the abyss, that your beautiful soul has cleansed it of all evil. Don't reject this power, for you have already proved that you are worthy of it.
Your power doesn't lie in magic tricks. You know it doesn't. Your real power is inside you. You can win without tricks. I will help you.
Maybe I'm missing something here, but how can a demon grant the power of an angel? Listen, if you had no goodness inside, you couldn't have reached Lariel in the caves beneath Canabras. I remember how once, long ago, you showed me the light of heaven. Maybe I didn't believe in you right away, but I believe in you now. You've proven time and again that you deserve the light of heaven. You are my commander, marked by an angel. This power rightfully belongs to you.
As a member of the Order of the God Claw, I ought to advise you to obey the will of the goddess, or at least to take it into consideration. But as your companion, who has spent a lot of time with you, I can't help but notice you have reforged demonic Nihindrian power into angelic power. This is a sign of order triumphing over chaos. Perhaps there is room for maneuver here. That is why I advise you to weigh all the options and make your own decision.
Много ме кефи Реджио. Много як герой са направили All Cat Games в тази игра. Реджио е един от компаньоните, които най-ми допадат.
It's not my place to gainsay the will of my goddess, but the thing is, I can sense evil. And I don't sense it in your power at all. I just don't. Whatever those horned monsters had planned for you, you definitely aren't playing by their rules.
Sil looks a little confused, but her voice is firm.
You gave hope to the Crusaders in their darkest hour, even when all seemed lost and only despair and death lay ahead. With these powers, you have saved countless lives, and you will save more. Of course you must keep them.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen.
От време на време чуш, че дара на побъркан.
As to your original question, I'll be honest with you. Your power turns my stomach like sour prunes. Reject it, it can't hurt.
These dames are tough, but Iomade is as tough as you. If she tells you to do something, you better do what she says. I can feel it in my tail. You're good and righteous and all that, so do what the righteous goddess is telling ya. Maybe it'll even make my life a smidge easier. After you, become more like a human.
Logic casts sideways glance at Nocticool and Yomede and moves closer to you so he can whisper.
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Arilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
Добре, взех своето решение. Аз не съм го точно взел, но сега ще взема. Наклоних се малко везните.
Quite right. Make your choice and make it the right one.
Ама още не съм направил избора. Какво стана сега? Choosing the mythic path. You need to choose mythic path you're going to follow. This choice will greatly affect the following events. However, no matter what your reasons for choosing one of the paths are, be it powers or aesthetic preferences, remember there are no wrong choices. Your soul got stronger, making your whole existence a miracle. You get new powers that can ascend you beyond the limits of mortals. Имаме демон, обаче не можем да го изберем поради някаква причина, ни е заключен вече, но сме го разкрили. Има, вижте колко пътя още не сме открили. 2, 4, 6. 6 неразкрити. Аз знам, че тук има лич. И знам, че има деволичен път. Така че 2 знаем за тях. Също така знам и за един, който изпуснахме, за... имаше едно същество, което имаше сили на времето. Някакви неща, което мисля, че е неутралният път. И Азата, героя, който имаше един момент, където трябваше да изпеем една песен, който ни отключва и този път. И има 2 пъти, за които не знам. Всъщност единия път беше, ако бяхме разкрили имаше едни поручвания, които трябваше да направим. Мисля, че може да станем като този, който убихме много по-рано, където излизаха някакви гадинки от него, който беше направен от едни малки гадинки. И има един път, който силно не знам какъв. Сега обаче можем да изберем. Можем да изберем Голд Дракона, само че решихме да не го правим, тъй като той е neutral good, което за съжаление на нас не ни върши работа. Вижте как ни променя героя, ставаме някакъв такъв по-тъмен тип. Legend. One doesn't need to be a mythic creature, an otherworldly being, or that is chosen to become a hero. This path may be grueling and full of temptation, but the mortal who treads it fully earns the right to call themselves a true legend. С ние можем да отхвърлим всичко и да си останем смъртни и да нямаме такива специални сили. Обаче аз мисля да продължим по ангелския път. The angel is a mighty champion of good who sets shining example for the crusaders, smiting demons with their sword of holy flame. Those who fight alongside the angel can be certain that they will be protected, healed and even resurrected. The event of their untimely demise. Да. На това плейтру ще играем с ангела, да си довършим, така затръгнахме в тази посока, мисля да довършим този път. Сега, аз обаче също така мисля, сега ще дигнем им първо от Critical, тук то няма какво друго да се дигне за момента, но по принцип си мисля да си направим да си дигнем левелите на ново. В смисъл не, че е лошо начинът, по който сме се развили за момента, просто някакси с развитието на класа ни и на тази митична част има умения, които вече не ни трябват толкова. Тоест може да ги променим с някакви, които са много по-полезни. Така че сега трябва да си изберем някои от тези умения. Abolish Disease, Abolish Poison. Undead много ми харесваше и правим 50% повече на Undead. Angel can now imbue weapons of others with the same holy power. Това не е лошо. Bestow the Divine. Grand Blessing. Additional damage and healing from Sword of Heaven now maximized. Demon Bane. Получаваме плюс 2. Чакайте, че ми се мести стола тук. Така. Какво гледах? Demon Bane. Weapons of an angel become bane to all demons. You gain plus 2 bonus on attack and damage rolls made against creatures with demon subtype. And successful hits deal additional 2d6 holy damage. This bonus attacks with bane special quality. Тоест стаква с ето тези неща, мисля, че. Това е много демидж, между другото. 12 демидж бонус, плюс 2 демидж нормален, който ни се умножава от други статистики, и 2 на атак. Това никак не е лошо. Additional damage and healing. Не. Guide of the Faithful. Guide of the Faithful е яко, защото attacks with imbued weapon now mark the target for 1 minute, making the target visible, giving the target minus 40 penalty to stealth checks and minus 4 penalty to AC. Значи сваляме armor класа на противника с 4. Обаче това дали стаква? Или само минус 4 пеналти му слава? Може би е само това. Overwhelming Flames. Attack of the honor of the imbued weapon now additionally deal weapon damage to all enemies. Това сигурно е полезно. Speed of Light. The honor of the imbued weapon now is under the effect similar to haste, but granting 2 additional attacks. Under the effect similar to haste, обаче. And making all spells of level 7 or lower quickened, as though using a quicken spell feat. Прави магиите ни Swift Action. Speed of Light. То няма какво друго да изберем тук. Това е в пъти, може би, най-силното нещо до момента. Имаме много магии. Супер. Оп, и получихме крила. Много яко. The choice is made. All you have to do is announce it to everyone. Ето ги пътищата. Значи имаме Aeon Mythic Path. Мисля, че това беше този с силите на времето и така нататък. А затата е това, където ви разправях за където трябваше да изпеем една песен и щяхме да можем да го отключиме. Demon Mythic Path, който сме отключили. Lich Mythic Path. Trickster. Това не го знам какво е. Trickster Mythic Path. И имаме Dragon Mythic Path. Обаче тук не ми се струва, че са всичките, между другото. Защото липсва този Devil Mythic Path, за който споменах. Той може би е някакъв по-таен такъв. Като драконския. Добре. You sacrifice to your humanity to serve the forces of good goddess. Do not judge me if I choose to do the same.
It pains me to hear that. But I am not your judge, and I shall not stand in your way. At least not until I see that Golarion is under threat. You have chosen your path. Farewell.
A strange expression appears briefly on the luminous face of the goddess. Something like amazement mixed with understanding. She nods slowly.
Oh, I think my hands are shaking. We disobeyed the goddess. But it was for a righteous cause. How am I supposed to wrap my head around this?
It would have been so foolish for you to reject your powers. So many victories, so many achievements lie ahead for you. Well, go now. Capture Arilu, and prove which of you is making the best use of her invention. I'll be watching you.
Particular gives you a playful... И изпрати ни такава летяща целувка. The particular gives you a playful wink. The demon lord blows you a kiss and disappears. Какво стана сега? Това е голяма разправия, вече половин час тук. Не можем нищо друго да правим, освен този разговор. Ма явно взехме някакво тежко, много важно решение. Много ми се искаше да сме дракони, но за жалост не ни се вписва с това, което правихме за момента. И освен това ни променя елемента на неутрал гулт, което е лошо в нашия случай. Защото няма да мога да си използваме паладинските умения в битка. Какво става сега? Всичко наред ли е тук? Града е... Окей. Някакви ангели си ходят тук при нас вече. Адското. Вижте ги, екстра. Как си ходят. Града е... Се завърна. Тук беше много празно. Okay. Всичко наред ли е? Какво заби сега? Step away from defeat. Anivia bounds up to you, rubbing her tired eyes with a white smile plastered on her face. I can't believe it. Victory! And what a victory! Light has returned to Dresden, and the demons are running crying back to their demon mummies. Dresden being lost again and again, but again and again we win it back. You win it back, Commander. For light, for truth, for life. What's the city like now? It's being cleared of demons, and it's shining bright as a temple with 1,000 candles. I didn't think it looked this good even back when it was first founded. This isn't victory yet. We knocked back the demons, but they could return and continue tormenting the innocent. You betcha. Huh, those scum didn't know who they were messing with. What's the situation at the front? Unknown. Her Majesty mustered all the troops she could, raised the Sword of Valor, and advanced on the demons. There's been no word from her since she left. Perhaps she is boldly taking it even now. Maybe her bones have already been picked clean by demons. We don't know, and I doubt anybody except you will be able to find out. But that's not all. Baphomet's minions keep taking swipes at us. The scumbags are holed up somewhere in the Ivory Labyrinth. I'll bet they keep opening portals in different spots, dropping off 1,000 units, and then closing the portal before we can get to them. We lost more scouts than I'd care to admit before we figured out how they were pulling off that little trick. So here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could get to one of those portals in time. You could be ready for them somehow, so that when one opens, you get inside and crack some skulls. They might even be holding the poor herald in there. If he is alive, you can free him. How do you feel after seeing the goddess in the flesh? My ears are still ringing from those trumpets. After witnessing that sight, I don't think I could be surprised by anything ever again. You dared to go against the goddess, and she forgave you. My mind can't comprehend it, Irobet laughs awkwardly. I was worried your impudence would be the death of us all, but now I think that you are strong enough to stand against the abyss even without heaven's help. As you just heard, I have to catch a reel. Any idea where I should look for her? No, not especially. She's been roaming the abyss all this time, but now that avenues closed to her, Nocticio and the other demon lords are all slavering for a price of her. Chaxa, slavering for a piece of her. I think she's someplace around here, in the wound. Some nasty little place like his, or maybe she went as far as Threshold. An entire army of demons enhanced by Nahidrian crystals was being sent here. It's being led by a demon named Mutasafe. Do you know anything about that? Scouts reported the movements of large demon army far to the southwest of Dresden. They were marching across a dried out lake. There used to be a Sarkorian holy place there, I heard, but where they went nobody knows. They're not headed for us, that's for sure. At least not yet. Thank you for the report. I'll be setting off without delay. Go on and fly. Chase the demons away from us. Now I know for sure the 5th Crusade will be the last. It's all over for the fiends. They finally met an enemy they could never have seen coming. Just do one thing for me. Come back to Dresden if you can. Folks are drawn to your light. Those who left are coming back, and new people are arriving. They need someone to tell them what to do. They need someone to show them. They need someone to lead them forward. Адската. Опа. Hell Knights. Reggie looks slightly more tense than usual. Justin, I have fairly important news. I will do my best to be brief. The Hell Knight orders have not reached well to the developments. The Hell Knight orders have not reacted well to the developments I mentioned in my latest report, specifically regarding the true source of your power. The very notion that we have been cooperating with a weapon forged by a real Vorlish in Nocticua has caused discontent. The orders have not issued any official edicts, but many chapters and high-ranking knights have been recalled from their assignments and barricaded themselves in one of our outposts. The one you know, in fact. I suggest you go there and resolve the issue between the orders and the Crusaders. This is a matter of importance. What kind of reaction should I expect from the Hell Knights? Any, up to and including a formal declaration of war, which is why you must go to the outpost and resolve the issue before it devolves into open conflict. Very well, I'll go there as soon as possible. Excellent. That is all I had to report, so I'll return to my duties and you may attend to your other affairs. Justin, the succubus gazes at you despondently. She always speaks quietly, but now her voice is barely audible whisper. In my dream, a fire destroyed almost everything. The only thing that survived was a table. I've returned to my dream world so many times. The nightmare still lurks there, but I want to understand why this table is so important. Why did it survive the fire? I can't figure out what makes it special. It looks like a simple piece of furniture. It just stands there. What is it supposed to mean? What am I doing wrong? Is your nightmare still attacking you? Not openly. It still lurks in the shadows, gnawing at my soul from within. It never leaves me alone, but it hasn't tried to fight me again. Would you like to enter your dream again? I don't think that will help. We've already been there together and... No, there must be something else. I must look at it from a different side. But how do you find the other side of a dream? The other side of a dream is called reality. Perhaps this table represents something that you are supposed to do in real life. You might be right, or show brightens considerably. But what exactly should I do? Find a table? Buy one? Perhaps I should learn the craft of a carpenter and make one myself. So many possibilities, and I don't even know where to begin. Her excitement gives way to dismay. Perhaps Desna can help you solve this riddle. But she was the one who asked me to solve it. I don't think she's going to tell me the answer. I must find it myself, but how? Where did this table come from? Where did it come from? Orishel considers your question. She taps her lips thoughtfully. Oh, I remember now. There was a loaf of bread on that table. That was Anivia's dream. Remember? She said she wanted to learn how to bake. The bread went up in flames along with all the other fragments of her dreams, but the table remained. If this table came from Anivia's dream, perhaps you should talk to her. I've been living among mortals for a while now, but there's still so much I don't understand about your kind. How you live, what you dream about. You're right, we should ask Anivia. It is part of her dream after all. That's a good idea, but the succubus shifts from foot to foot reluctantly. Could you please talk to her instead? I don't even know how to begin a conversation like this. It is so personal. Please ask her, and I will stay nearby. Добре, ще говорим вместо някакво. Какво стана, бе? Льотър Хоукблейд. Кой беше това? Някакъв паладин ми изглежда. Комендър. Инквизитора. Ама кой инквизитор беше това от двамата? The Inquisitor greets you with a bow. I am sincerely gladdened by your return, and I was delighted to hear of your recent victories. It is a shame that my duty has kept me away from the front line. I would like to take up a place in the ranks of your crusaders, and perhaps I will still have a chance to do so, but before that happens, we must address another issue. I suppose you have already guessed what has brought me here. We parted ways after the discovery we made at Count Arenday's estate. Сетих се кой е този инквизитор. Да, той беше тръгнал да намери информация за това странно зло entity, което открихме в Дарън. Дарън в неговия естейт. Той е Дарън Арендай. You and I both know that the Count became a conduit for an unknown entity which I call the Other. I retreated to Nerosian and then went beyond Mender's borders looking for mentions of such entities and ways to fight them. And now that my search has borne fruit, I am ready to tell you about it. Why did your search take so long? Because we are dealing with a rare phenomenon, a true anomaly. The Mendef Inquisition has amassed substantial experience in fighting demons, but here we are up against something completely different. I had to troll through our archive searching for cases that seemed in any way similar. I sent inquiries to friendly temples and reached out beyond our nation's borders to to experts on the unknown. It was dull and painstaking work, but it was necessary. So what have you learned about the other? Какво ми става? Нещо да му се не види. I must be honest, I still don't know what it is. However, I managed to find some evidence of similar incidents. Individuals who, in a horrible moment in their life, became gateway for an unknown entity. The most curious part is that all these cases appear almost sequential. They happen in various corners of Golarion, but no two incidents ever occurred at the same time. This leads me to think that we are dealing with a single entity, one that has been secretly present in our world for a long time, merely changing its gateways on occasion. While I do not know what this entity is, I managed to find something of great value. A Varisian archivist managed to pick up the trail of the Other and invented a ritual to awaken and bind it. She died under very suspicious circumstances. Her decapitated body was found in her laboratory. Her head was never found. Значи, интересно, тези глави, които се появяват в нашия инвентар, очевидно не са били от как се казваше тази? От Камелия, която си призна, че убива разни хора. Освен ако и двамата не са ги обезглавявали. Аз не си спомням, мисля, че ние питахме, не си спомням тя какво ни каза. But her note survived, including the description of the ritual. I have discussed it with several highly esteemed experts in magic, and I'm inclined to consider this a reliable weapon. We can use the ritual to lure the entity out, bind it, and probably exterminate it. But to do that, I'll need your assistance, Commander. Are you sure that this Other is hostile toward us? In all this time, it has never tried to attack me. I am certain that this entity is dark and truly evil. The evidence and my instincts as an inquisitor are undeniable. Wherever the Other manifests itself, strange and ominous things begin to happen. In particular, I am positive that it is responsible for all the magically decapitated corpses, the ones that were found at Heaven's Edge after the tragedy and in Kenebres after the Scary's attack. In both places, some of these corpses belong to civilians and other to demons, and in Kenebres, some of the victims were cultists. I am convinced that the Other is pursuing some interest of its own, and thus far it has ruthlessly exterminated any who learn of its existence. And now you and I know that it exists. Draw your conclusions. If Darren is the gateway, can't we just slam this gateway shut and leave the Other on the other side? We can, by killing the Count, the Inquisitor answers simply. But firstly, I am not sure that the Other won't try to protect its gateway, and in that case, we would have to face it unprepared. And secondly, I am opposed to that idea in principle. Sometimes Inquisitors must make hard decisions. I have made a great many in my lifetime. For instance, I can kill a person possessed by demons if he or she is at imminent risk of taking many lives and I have no time to perform an exorcism. But in this instance, the situation is not so critical. We have a way of fighting the other. I will not agree to commit cold-blooded murder, not even the murder of someone so as disgraceful as Count, aren't they? How dangerous it is. It is extremely dangerous, which is why I have come to you with this. All the evidence I've collected on the other, in particular the list of its victims, which include powerful demons and strong mortal mages, make me certain that we are dealing with something extraordinary here. It is stronger and more dangerous than Balors and other generals of the Abyss. I also suspect that the Oracle powers the Count has developed come from the other. As a rule, only gods, imperial lords, and other extremely powerful beings are capable of granting such abilities. I know no one except for you who could challenge such an entity, so I'm asking you to help, for the safety of all who dwell on Golarion. However, I believe that we can shore up our strategic position if the other doesn't suspect we are preparing a trap until the very last moment. Even the most dangerous of creatures become more vulnerable when caught off guard. The main thing we must do is to take a methodical approach and stay alert. I think that is within our abilities. Нещо ми става, не мога да чета. What do we need to do? We must carefully prepare the ritual and then bring Count Arendelle to the designated location. The ritual will lure out the other, weaken its connection with the Count, and bind its essence to our world like an anchor. The last part is especially important. All the evidence indicates that while the gateway is active, the other can travel freely between the material plane and some unknown space that lies beyond. If we fail to bind the other with the ritual, it will either escape or, in the worst case scenario, drag us into its realm. Hence, we must lure it out and then, I suppose, defeat it. There is one more issue, aside from the fact that we will have to fight this incredibly powerful and horrifying creature. The other's suspicion must not be aroused until the very last moment, and this means that the Count must know nothing as well. The best course of action will be to take the Count to the designated location without telling him the reason for the journey. Then we must frighten him and make it appear that his life is in danger. The other will believe that its gateway is in peril, and then, I hope, it will show up to protect it. The ritual circle will work as a trap, but it is crucial, and I stress this, that we convince the entity that we know nothing of its existence, that it is Darren who is in danger, not the entity itself. Otherwise, there is no knowing what may happen, and I don't want to give the adversary any chance to outmaneuver us. Why do you think the other will appear to protect Darren? The Count has been in danger many times before and nothing special has ever happened. You have a special connection with your companions, Commander. You shared part of your mythic powers with them. They journeyed through the abyss with you and survived to tell the tale. I believe the other understands this. It also must understand how dangerous it would be if you were to become not a benefactor but an enemy to its gateway. I am certain that it will react to a threat coming from you, as opposed to ordinary encounters with demons and cultists. I will help you. Thank you. Now let's go over the entire operation once more. I am convinced that we must lure out the other somewhere far from Dresden and other populated places to avoid civilian casualties. I have chosen a suitable location within the world wound. I'll mark it on your map. You must bring the Count there without alerting him to what's about to happen. I assume that another foray into the world wound will hardly raise his suspicions. I will wait you there with the ritual circle prepared, but before we reach the crucial moment, you must take the Count and the other. Believe that the Count is in danger. I suppose the easiest way to do that will be to tell him that you made a deal with the Mendev Inquisition and Count will have to face punishment for his crimes, real or imaginary. I'll find a way to intimidate him. But you must play along. We need to provoke the other to come out to protect its gateway. That's when we finish it off once and for all. This case will be my greatest triumph or my greatest failure. But I firmly believe that it must be done. Remember my words. The other must be convinced that we are not a threat to the Count and that we know nothing of its existence. Нали? Ние не трябва да сме трет, а инквизиторите трябва да са опасност за... Нещо не разбрах, кой трябва да е опасност за Каунта съвсем. Ще видим как ще го направим. Мисля, че може да ни се получи. The slightest suspicion could prove fatal for us. Until we meet again, Commander, and may the gods be with us. Знаете ли какво обаче? Аз мисля, че по-рано го питахме някакви неща. Относно... Какъв то призрак бе път? A pale ghostly image appears in front of you. You recognize Latimus, the antiquarian, the scholar you helped some time ago. His translucent form flickers intermittently, and you have difficulty making out his words. Commander, it's Timus. I won't be maintain spell for long. Open the door, treasure room. Please hurry. Това е където бяхме в гробището на драконите. Където го оставихме да разучава една затворена врата. Изглежда я отворил. И ни казва бързичко да отидем там. Леле, изведнъж ни дадоха 100 квеста, бе. Ние какво ще правим? What? Did you manage to open the door? Yes, I won't enter without you. Waiting on your help. I'm on my way. I'll be waiting. The vision of Latimus flickers and fades. Квестовете валят. Commander, you look up and see Melissa. Melissa? Да. The green-eyed fisherwoman from the village of Chili Creek. Her hair is a mess and her face and clothes are covered in soot. It looks as though she traveled here in a hurry and met with a few dangers along the way. Help! Please help me. He's gone crazy. He will kill him. Calm down. What happened? Do you remember Jerno? A young priest of Erasti who first met during the events of Kinevros. The cleric who came to our village a year ago. The locals weren't very welcoming to him back then. After all, he was a stranger who was preaching about a strange new god. But little by little he became one of us. He went fishing alongside us and he told people stories about the crusade. He told us about meeting you and seeing the queen, and the songs he used to sing. They just made you want to stop and listen. Well, eventually, the fisherwoman looks down. We became very close. We started to plan a wedding. My brother didn't seem to mind at first, but after we got married, well, that's when he lost it. He became violent. He threatened to hurt us. I tried to talk to him, but Melissa shakes her head, sadly. We even thought about leaving the village, but when my brother found out, he lost his mind completely. Markio is strong, and no one else in the village dares to challenge him. It was a miracle that I managed to escape, but my husband is still there. He didn't make it out of the village. I don't know what's happened to him. Help us, please. What caused this change in Markio's behavior? Melissa looks away and replies softly. Markio, he really honors the village traditions. We've been worshipping the river for many generations. He was not keen on having the cleric of a foreign god in the village, but he was willing to tolerate Jarnu's presence for a while. However, my relationship with Jarnu really disappointed Markio, especially when he discovered that I had begun to worship Arastil too. Ето го проблема, добре. How did you get here? By some miracle, I guess. Everything is on fire out there, and all those monsters, but never mind me, I managed to survive. I made it here in one piece, but I am in serious trouble, and I have no one I can turn to for aid. Please help me, you're my only hope. Alright, I'll help you. Thank you. I'll head back to the village. I'll do my best to keep him from flying into a rage. But please hurry. I'm afraid he might do something terrible. Уоу. Леле колко квести набарахме. Направо наистина. Чакайте да направя с един quick save тук. Че направо не е, както казах и по-рано, не е истина. Я да видим Реджи има нещо ново да ни каже. Не. Ние имаме квест от него. Ирбет. Окей. Нищо ново от нея. Трябва да говорим с Анивия за Саней. Look who it is. Hi. Do you remember when I asked you about your dream? You said you wanted to learn how to bake bread. Could you tell me more about that? Is this for Orishel? Uh-huh. I can see you. You can come out. You can come on out. Anivia smiles at the half-hidden succubus, bashfully emerging from her hiding place. Now, isn't that better? Anyway, back to bread. Anivia sighed pensively, her eyes gazing into the distance. When I was just a little snot-nosed kid, my mom hid me from our enemies in a temple of Desna. Nidal, my birthplace, is a horror show. If it crumbled into the sea tomorrow, I'd throw a party. Nidal is one of the oldest surviving countries in Avestan, having been founded during the uncounted years of Age of Darkness, even though it is now beholden to the neighboring infernal realm of Cheliax. It retains significant autonomy to pursue its own shadowy goals. Интересно. But the temple was a tiny oasis of peace and calm hidden away inside all that. Folks in the temple knew how to laugh. They'd sing songs as they did their needlework, and in the mornings they'd bake the most fragrant bread in the whole world. I could barely see over the table, but I'd stand and watch as the cook mixed the dough, formed it into rounds, and put them in the oven. It's the happiest memory of my life. Well, of the crappy part of my life, up until I met Beth, of course. Then, when I bailed on that, I did all kinds of scummy jobs. I crawled through the marshlands, I scrambled over rooftops, I waded through sewers. I spied, I tracked, I killed, and that memory was the thing that kept me going when I was sitting up to my eyeballs in gore, or dragging myself through the slums with an arrow in my side. I remember the smell of that bread, the crunch of the crust, how it burned my little fingers. I remembered how happy I was back then. Commander, have you thought about what you'll do after we win? I mean, once we've smashed the demons, closed the world wound, hung up our weapons, what then? I know my war will be well and truly over the morning I get up, mix up a dough, and put it in the oven. I'm gonna sit there and watch it rise. And then the smell of fresh bread will wake your Beth, and she'll come into the kitchen, and I'll break her off a streaming fragrant piece. That's when I'll truly know in my gut that the crusade is over, that our peaceful life has begun. Orishel listens to Anivia with rapt attention. When Anivia finishes, the succubus is silent for a long time, and then briskly wipes her eyes. Thank you, Anivia. Desna bless you. I think I understand now. I think I truly understand. Orishel turns to you. You see a sparkle of hope in her eyes again. Something that's been missing ever since your last visit to the world of dreams. Justin, we need to go there again, to the dream world. Now I know how to solve the riddle. Please come speak to me in private as soon as you can. Not waiting for your answer, Orishel walks away. Anivia watches the demon go. Desna teaches that everything we do in our waking hours begins in our dreams. I wonder what my dream helped her understand. But whatever it was, may the goddess watch over her. Alright. Сега. Мисля, че сме на време да приключим епизода. Аз обаче искам да направя няколко неща. Първо, искам да видя дали всичко е наред в моят персонал чест. Така, тук имахме леле. Вижте колко много артефакти имаме. Тук аз направо се пръскам. Spear, Скинтър, Great Axe. Имаме много артефакти. Трябва да видим дали мога да се възползваме от тях по някакъв начин. Това нещо няма да ни трябва. Това нещо няма да ни трябва. Бе, всичко в общи линии, което не е на плюс 4 и нагоре, няма да ни трябва. Throwing Axe. Може би Throwing Axe ще ги запазим, тъй като нямаме други неща, които мога да вземем. Soul Shear беше много готин артефакт. Lustrous Blade за продаване. Corrosive Great Club имаме много по-як. Тия тонги няма кой да ги използва. Плюс 4 сайт. Eye for an Eye. Рапирите няма да ни трябват. Тия мейсове няма да ни трябват. Numerian Great Sword е много як меч, който много ми харесва. Ще си го оставим за сега. Не знам кой би го носил, но ще видим. Така, плюс 3, плюс 3. Плюс 3. Добре, Short Spear. Така, Скинтър плюс 4, добре. Ооо, този мес е много як. Trident. Кукри. Warhammer. Falcion. Rumbling. Thunder Armor. И Cleave. Интересен доста. Lustrous Sweep. Това няма да ни трябва, мисля. Unholy оръжията като цяло, мисля, че няма да ни трябват. Дефайлърчета. За сега няма да го продаваме. Композитен шортбол. Плюс 5. Плюс 4. Плюс 5 спир. Си имам ли някакъв, който да трябва да оставя? Или кросбол? Това ще оставим. Soul казахме, че ще го продадем. Така. Longsword на плюс 1. Crushing Cold. И тия мисля, че... Да, тези сега ги взехме. Броните трябва да видим. Newest Oldest. Имахме този Light Shield. Имам страшно много брони. Добре, айде после ще видим броните, може би. Ще прибереме този щит. Tower Shield-овете за момента няма да ги ползваме. Ще видим тук какво мога да направим. Този Fire Aura. Така. Тук много неща. Тук също имаме много неща запазени. Трябва да видим какво ще ни трябва, какво няма да ни трябва. Имам страшно много предмети за продаване, за използване. Да видим как ще ги наместиме, на кой ще спаднат. При кой да отидат някакви яки. Да, чака ни работа като цяло тук. Аз мисля да не... Най-вероятно няма да ви занимавам с това нещо. По-скоро ще ги направя отделно. За да не записвам целият артефакт менеджмент, защото той ще е много труден и най-вече е свързан с това, че много ще ги мисля, много ще сменям артефакти. Евентуално накрая ще ви покажа какво... как са получили нещата по-скоро. За да няма... Какво се случва? Не мога да разбера както и да е. Тук квест неща нямаме. Вижте колко много неща сме намерили от квест линията. Дали имаме достатъчно предмети за да направим маската. Тоест шлема. Кръмпа Demon Helmet. Не съм сигурен. Надявам се, че имаме. Малко ме съмнявам обаче. Защото ние използвахме. Поне имаме доста Demon Blood. Това се притеснявах, че няма да ни стигне. Но е добре, че го има. Transformation кристали, Magic Essence, добре. Така, сега искам да затваря вратата, бро. Нека да видим какво става в кралството, най-накрая. Ще сейвнем отново. Преди да сложим край на епизода, искам да видим какво се случва в Crusade Affairs, така да се каже. Защото след това започваме по мисиите, а там ни чака пълна лудница. И видим какво ни става с армията и с нещата сега. The Fate of the Unholy Symbol. Skilled Craftsman, така. This relic will be augmented. Heaven Warriors Angels will answer the Pathfinder Devils recruited. Добре. Report. A rough looking Pathfinder with an inconspicuous face appears out of nowhere. He raises his hands, indicating that he comes in peace. He hands you a letter. Commander, I request an urgent meeting. My situation is desperate. Only your intervention can save my daughter and me. You can find me in the usual place. Since a disability prevents me from coming to you, I'm counting on you. Venture Captain Hillor. Hillor не е ли го града всъщност? Lieutenant Hawkblade, the Inquisitor who is investigating the case down, entirely known as the other, arrived in Dresden and wants to meet the commander. Видяхме се. Добре. Сега тук има много неща. Страшно много. И репорт. Бате. Golarian slaves rescued by the commander and Oceaneer are infinitely grateful, and they are ready to get even with the demons with weapons in hand. Добре. In the commander's absence, the Crusaders were led by Queen Galfrey, but everyone remembered that the official title of leader of the crusade had not been taken away from the commander. His glory attracted many warriors, and a detachment of such volunteers have just arrived at the walls of Dresden. Super. Thanks to the power of the Wardstone residing in Dresden, the demon siege was much less bloody than it could have been. Enough soldiers survived in the citadel to form a fighting detachment that is now awaiting the commander's orders. Добре, така имаме две неща тук. Dead Man's Club. Soldiers who lost their comrades along with their will to live have founded the so-called Dead Man's Club. They leave Dresden to die in battle. As heroes and deal as much damage to the enemy as they can in the process. Unfortunately, these actions ruin their officers' plans and undermine discipline within the ranks. Crusade morale. Аз не знам колко морал имаме в момента. 20. Макс, значи. Вижте колко материали имаме. Мале. Ние ще се пръснем от строене сега. Тук не сме дигнали лидершип на 5, е така. Не сме дигнали лидершип на 5, това е много тъпо, но какво се прави. Така, Crusade Morale. Remove 5% of recruited units. All enemy units receive wounded feet for 2 days. Това може и да е яко, между другото, в един момент. Evil. Не. Morale increases by 50. Band the Club. То нямам други избори, които да мога да направя. Life is a precious gift. After talking to the commander, the soldiers realized that their duty is to live and fight in the name of the fallen. With their newfound hope, the warriors are eager for battle. Fate of the Holy Symbol. Значи може да стане Hand Axe, може да стане Battle Axe. Ама е на плюс 2, то няма никакъв смисъл. Нищо, ще я направим. Няма кой да ползва Great Axe, така че или Battle Axe, или Hand Axe. Айде ще е Hand Axe. Commander servants have carried out the decree. Така, мале. Чакайте едно по едно да ги гледам тия неща, защото strengthening the chain of command. The war wears soldiers down and defeatist altitudes sink in. In order to reinforce the discipline, the commander's staff council must look for new solutions. Така. Strengthening diplomatic connections. Financing a crusade is a costly process, and the diplomatic council has come up with new tricks to preserve the friendship of countries and nobility sponsoring the commander's army. Absolutely. Значи ранкъп нещата веднага ги правим. Това нещо трябва да го Няма достатъчно материали за Bastion. Интересно. Аз не бях ли направил един Bastion, by the way? Preachers, Repeatable. Recruitment Growth. О, това трябва да го пуснем, да. Тези тук си ги взимаме лека по лека. Така. Relics. Choice Effects. Вижте колко много апгрейди имаме още да правим. Studying the unusual crystal. The crystal the commander came upon holds many mysteries. Experts on magic and relics may be able to shed some light on some of them. Веднага. Добре. Map. Campaign. Така. Сега. Къде ми е главната армия? Уела? Какво ми е станало с войниците, бе? Wait, what? Where the hell are all my soldiers? God damn it. Ужас. Аз имах сорсърари, имах неща. Чакай бе, и генерала ми ли го няма? Брат. Левел 12, нали? Как да я енлисна? Как я избирам? Как да я избера? Интересно. Рекрутния дженерал. Добре де. I don't get it. Знаете ли тази работа? Къде са ми на мене войниците в този момент? И защо не мога да си рекрутна генерала? Аз сега няма да мога да нападна на никъде в общи линии. Чакайте да гледаме картата. Тук назад поне нямаме квестове, доколкото виждам. Тук обаче има нещо. Добре, не е ясно това какво е. Може би... Не знам. Защо не ми показва моите войници? Какво ако дам Assign General? Ето ги и двата ми генерала. Обаче не мога да ги избера. Много интересно. Тук цялата ми армия реално я няма. И какво трябва да си взема нов генерал, така ли? Аз не искам да рекрутвам нов. Някой от тия два. Това с Scorching Ray не е лош сигурно. Като цяло ще бъде някакъв такъв, да. Заради Master of Manure, за да мога да имаме 4 юнита. Този също май не е лош. Но това нещо е магия някаква пък. Добре, няма да бързаме с взимането на нов генерал, тъй като не разбираме за какво стана въпрос в момента, така че ще чакаме по-скоро. Сега ще се насочим към квестовете в града. И да, и това ще бъде. Всъщност, може би в следващия епизод ще направим друго. Ще отидем да си надигаме на ново някои скилове. И така. Да, мисля, че нещо такова ще се случи. Да. Ами, добре, това ще бъде всичко от този епизод. Благодаря ви, че гледахте. Надявам се да ви е било забавно. Желая всичко хубаво и чао-чао.